The Children's Bible, Genesis 42 through 45. Joseph's brothers in Egypt. Now Jacob heard that there was grain in Egypt, and he said to his sons, "Why do you sit and look at one another? I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down and buy some for us there, so that we may live and not die." So Joseph's 10 brothers set out to buy grain in Egypt. But Benjamin, Joseph's youngest brother, did not go with them, for harm might befall him, said Jacob. So among the crowds that came to buy grain came the sons of Jacob, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. Now Joseph was governor of the land. He sold grain to all the people of the land. Joseph's brothers came to him and bowed themselves before him with their faces to the earth. When Joseph saw his brothers, he recognized them, but he acted as a stranger toward them, and he spoke roughly to them, saying, "Where did you come from?" "From the land of Canaan to buy food," they said. Joseph's brothers did not know him, but he remembered the dreams that he had dreamed of them, and he said to them, "You are spies. It is to find out the secrets of this land you have come." "No, my lord," they said to him, "your servants have come to buy food only. We are true men. Your servants are not spies." And Joseph said to them, "No, you have come to find out the secrets of the land." "We are 12 brothers," they said, "the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. The youngest one is with our father now, and one is no more." But Joseph said again, "It is just as I said, you are spies. This shall be the proof. By the life of Pharaoh, you shall not go out of here unless your youngest brother comes to this place. Send one of you, and let him fetch your brother, and you shall be kept in prison, so that it may be proved whether there is any truth in your words. Or else, by the life of Pharaoh, surely you are spies." And he put them all together under guard for 3 days. The 3rd day Joseph said to them, "Do this and save your lives, for I am a God-fearing man. If you are true men, let one of you stay bound in the prison where you are kept. The rest of you take grain to feed the hungry in your houses, but bring your brother to me, the youngest one, so that your words are proven, and you shall not die." And they did so, saying to one another, "Truly we are guilty about our brother, for we saw the anguish of his soul when he pleaded with us, and we would not listen. That is why this distress has come upon us." And Reuben answered them, "Did I not tell you, do not sin against the child? But you would not listen, and now we must settle for his blood." They did not know that Joseph understood them, for he spoke to them through an interpreter. Joseph turned away from them and wept. Then he returned and spoke to them. He took Simeon from them and bound him before their eyes. Then Joseph ordered servants to fill their sacks with grain, to put every man's money back into his sack, and to give them provisions for the journey. That was how he treated them. So they loaded their donkeys with the grain and started home. But when they stopped at an inn, one of them opened his sack to feed his donkey, and he saw the money in the mouth of his sack. "My money is back in my sack," he said to his brothers. Their hearts failed them, and they were afraid, saying to one another, "What is this that God has done to us?" They came home to Jacob their father in the land of Canaan, and told him all that had happened. "The man who is the lord of that land treated us harshly, and took us for spies. But we said to him, 'We are true men, we are not spies. We were 12 brothers, one is no longer, and the youngest is with our father in the land of Canaan.' Then the man who is the lord of that land said to us, 'I will know if you are true men. Leave one of your brothers here with me, and take food to feed the hungry in your houses, and be gone. Then bring your brother to me, the youngest, and I shall know that you are not spies but true men. Then I will deliver your brother, and you shall trade in the land.' Now when they emptied their sacks, behold, every man found his bundle of money in his sack. And when both they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid. Jacob said to them, 'You have taken away my children from me. Joseph is no more, and Simeon is no more, and now you want to take Benjamin away? All these things are against me.' Reuben said to his father, 'You may kill my 2 sons if I do not bring Benjamin back to you. Put him into my hands, and I will bring him back to you again.' But Jacob said, 'My son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he alone is left. If harm should come to him on the journey, you would bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to the grave.' The famine continued in the land, and the time came when Jacob and his sons had eaten up the grain that they had brought from Egypt, and their father said to them, "Go again, buy us a little food." But Judah told him, "If you will send our brother with us, then we will go down and buy food. But if you will not send him, we will not go down. For the man said to us, 'You shall not see my face unless your brother is with you.'" "Why did you deal so badly as to tell the man you had another brother?" asked Jacob. And they explained, "The man asked many questions about ourselves, about our family, saying, 'Is your father still alive? Have you another brother?' We answered according to his questions. How could we know that he would say, 'Bring your brother down'?" Then Judah said to his father Jacob, "Send the lad with me, and we shall arise and go, so that we may live and not die, we and you, and all of our little ones. I will be responsible for him, and you may demand him of me. If I do not bring him to you and set him before you, then let me bear the blame forever. If we had not lingered so long, surely we would already have been back a second time." Their father said to them, "If it must be so now, then do this. Take some of the best fruits of the land in your sack, and carry down to the man presents, a little balm and a little honey, spices and myrrh, nuts and almonds. Take double money in your hands. In this way you will be able to give back the money that was in the mouth of your sacks. It may be that it was just an oversight. Take also your brother, and go again to the man. May God Almighty grant you mercy from the man, so that he may send home Benjamin and your other brother Simeon. For if I must grieve for my children, it is bitter grief indeed." And the men took presents, and they took double money in their hand. They also took Benjamin, and started off and went down to Egypt. And they came and stood before Joseph. Joseph saw Benjamin with them, and he said to the ruler of his house, "Take these men home, kill some meat, and make it ready, for these men will dine with me at noon." The servant did as Joseph told him, and took the brothers to Joseph's house. The men were afraid when they were brought into Joseph's house, and they said, "It is because of the money that was returned in our sacks the first time that we have been brought here, so that he may find fault with us and fall upon us, and take us for slaves and seize our donkeys." So they approached the steward of Joseph's house and spoke to him in the doorway. "O sir," they said, "truly we came down the first time only to buy food. But when we went back and opened our sacks, behold, every man's money was in the mouth of his sack, our money in full amount. So we have brought it back with us. We have brought other money down too to buy food. We do not know who put the money in our sacks." "Peace be with you," said the steward. "Fear not. Your God, the God of your father, gave you the treasure in your sacks. I received your money." Then he brought Simeon out to them. The man took the brothers into Joseph's house, and he gave them water to wash their feet, and he gave them food for their donkeys. Meanwhile they prepared the presents to give to Joseph when he came in at noon, for they had been told that they were to eat there. When Joseph came home, they brought him the presents which they had brought into the house, and they bowed themselves down to the earth before him. He asked them how they were, and said, "Is your father well, the old man of whom you spoke? Is he still alive?" "Your servant our father is in good health," they answered. "He is still alive." And they bowed down their heads respectfully. Lifting up his eyes, Joseph saw his brother Benjamin, his own mother's son. And he said, "Is this the youngest brother whom you told me of?" Then he said, "God be gracious to you, my son." Then Joseph hurried away, for his heart yearned for his brother, and he sought a place to cry. He went into his room, and he wept there. Then he washed his face and calmed himself, and went out and said, "Serve the food." The servants served him separately, and the brothers by themselves, and the Egyptians who ate also by themselves, because the Egyptians could not eat bread with the Hebrews, for that was against the law of the Egyptians. The brothers sat before Joseph in order, from the firstborn according to his birthright down to the youngest according to his youth. And the men looked at one another in wonderment. Joseph sent servings to them from his table. Benjamin's serving was 5 times as much as any of the others. They drank and were merry with him. Then Joseph gave orders to the steward of his house, saying, "Fill the men's sacks with food, as much as they can carry, and put every man's money in his sack's mouth, and put my cup, the silver cup, in the mouth of the sack of the youngest, with his grain money." The steward did everything Joseph had told him. As soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away, they and their donkeys. When they had left the city, but were not yet far off, Joseph said to his steward, "Up, follow the men. When you have overtaken them, say to them, 'Why have you returned evil for good? Is not this the cup from which my Lord drinks and which he uses to make prophecies? In doing this you have done evil.'" So the steward overtook them, and he spoke to them in the words of Joseph. But they said to him, "Why does my Lord say these things? God forbid that your servant should do anything like this. Behold, the money we found in our sacks' mouths we brought back to you from the land of Canaan. Why then would we steal silver or gold out of your Lord's house? Let whoever among us is found to have this object die, and the rest of us will be your Lord's slaves." The steward said, "Let it be as you say. He who is found to have it shall be my slave, but the rest of you shall be blameless." Then each man quickly put down his sack on the ground, and each man opened his sack. The steward searched, beginning with the oldest, and finished with the youngest, and the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. Joseph's brothers tore their clothes in grief. Then each man loaded his donkey again, and they returned to the city. Judah and his brothers came to Joseph's house and found him there. They fell down before him on the ground. Joseph said to them, "What is this you have done? Do you not know that a man like me can see through these things?" "What shall we say to my lord?" answered Judah. "How shall we speak, and how shall we clear ourselves? God has found out the wickedness of your servants. Behold, we shall be my lord's slaves, all of us, as well as he in whose sack the cup was found." "God forbid that I should demand that," Joseph said. "The man in whose hand the cup was found, he shall be my slave. As for the rest of you, go in peace up to your father." Then Judah came closer to him and said, "O my lord, I beg of you, let your servant speak a word in my lord's ear, and do not let your anger burn against your servant, even though you are as powerful as Pharaoh." My lord asked his servants, "Have you a father or a brother?" And we said to my lord, "We have a father, an old man, and in his old age he had a child, a little boy whose brother is dead, and he alone is left of his mother. His father loves him." Then you said to your servants, "Bring him down to me, that I may have a look at him." We said to my lord, "The lad cannot leave his father, for if he should leave his father would die." You said to your servants, "Unless your youngest brother comes down with you, you will not see my face again." So when we came up to your servant my father, we told him your words. And our father said, "Go again and buy us a little food." We said, "We cannot go. Only if our youngest brother is with us can we go, for we may not see the man's face if our youngest brother is not with us." And your servant, my father, said to us, "You know that my wife bore me 2 sons. One I lost, and surely he was torn to pieces. I have not seen him since. If you take this one from me also, and any harm befalls him, you will bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to the grave. Now therefore, when I come to your servant my father, and he sees the lad is not with us, his life being bound up with the lad's life, he shall surely die, and your servants will have brought down their father to the grave with sorrow. For your servant took upon him responsibility for the lad, saying, If I do not bring him back to you, then I shall bear the blame forever. Now therefore I beg of you, let your servant stay instead of the lad, a slave to my lord, and let the lad go home with his brothers. For how shall I go up to my father if the lad is not with me, and see the grief that would come upon my father?" Then Joseph could restrain himself before them no longer, and he cried, "Let everyone leave me!" So the Egyptians departed. And Joseph made himself known to his brothers. But he wept aloud, and the Egyptians and Pharaoh's household heard. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" His brothers could not answer him, for they were all overcome with fear. Joseph said to his brothers, "Come close to me, I beg you." They came near, and he said, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. Now do not grieve nor be angry with yourselves because you sold me here, for God sent me here ahead of you to save your lives. For 2 years now the famine has been in the land, and there are 5 more years to come in which there shall be neither tilling nor harvest. God sent me here ahead of you to preserve your families on the earth and to save your lives. Therefore it was not really you that sent me here, but God, and he has made me an adviser to Pharaoh. and the lord of his household, and a ruler throughout the land of Egypt. Hurry now, and go up to my father, and you will say to him, Your son Joseph says, God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me without delay. You shall dwell in the land of Goshen, where you shall be near me, you, your children, and your children's children, your flocks and your herds, and all you own. And I will nourish you here, for there are still 5 years of famine to come, and you and your household would know poverty otherwise. Now your eyes and the eyes of my brother Benjamin can see that it is really I who speak to you. You are to tell my father of all the glory in Egypt, and of all you have seen. Go and hurry, and bring my father down here. Then he embraced Benjamin his brother, and he wept, and Benjamin wept. Then he kissed all of his brothers, and wept with them, and after that his brothers talked with him.